Spend less time in the laundry room and more time doing the things you love. Introducing the Samsung Smart Top Load Laundry Pair, now available at Lowe's. The washer's large capacity means you can fit more in every load. Plus, its super speed setting washes a full load in only 28 minutes. Shop the smart washer that will streamline laundry day, backed by Lowe's Price Promise. Based on using super speed on a normal cycle with an 8-pound load. Terms apply. See Lowe's.com/price promise for details. U.S. only.
Have we figured out how to explain deja vu? How do chameleons do that thing they do? Do you really need to wash your blue jeans? Yeah, you do, but how often? Hey, my name's Mike Simpson. I've got a podcast about curiosities. It's called I've Got Questions. We go through my list of random stuff and yours. Please participate. Send me your questions. I'll find someone to answer them. We've talked about our true crime obsession, how grocery stores are tricking us, super secret flight attendant stuff. I've Got Questions. New episodes Thursdays on Odyssey or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your driver's license is important so you can get back and forth to work, get your kids to school, and back and forth to daycare. If your license has been suspended because you can't pay your tickets, you can't do any of those things. Let's talk about Chapter 13 bankruptcy. You may have heard that tickets cannot be discharged, but they can be dealt with in a Chapter 13 case. Why not come in for a free consultation? The chapter you choose will make all the difference to your getting back legally on the road. Let's design a plan to pay off your tickets and restore your license immediately. I'm attorney Travis Gagne. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle. Finally, a survey that I agree with.
Okay.
100% behind the survey. And they actually surveyed 25,000 people. So this list here, I mean, it's pretty good. So that's a lot of people. And what they were asked is, which decade has the best music?
Ooh.
Oh,
the 30s. Easily.
Oh, yeah. No, you're pretty done with that.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Wait, is that the Cantina song from Star Wars?
Yes.
I guess the 30s. All right,
yes. Exactly. Thank you, BJ. You were tracking.
Jeez, yeah.
We're with a bunch of ignorant people here.
Excuse me.
Yeah. The 30s, not on the list. The 20s, and that would be the 2020s, actually was on the list, but they didn't do so well so far.
Dude, it has to be the 90s. To me, the 90s and the 70s are the two greatest decades for music.
Oh, see, you just missed that perfect decade right in the middle right there, the 80s.
There you go. Rev's a winner.
You guys
That's
are
number
just
one.
way off, and it's just early 2000s pop punk. So discussion's over. I mean,
none of us are going to agree.
Talking about.
Wait, so you, BJ, I would imagine, since you said Rev's the winner, you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, the 80s, I think, at least for my musical taste, the 80s were it.
Oh, hell yeah.
So Rev and BJ are the 80s. Danny, you're early 2000s pop punk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vicky, what are you?
I think I'm more 90s.
There we go.
You got a lot of, what
I knew
is...
you liked you for a reason.
Right?
Wow.
So it's a good mix of everything from, you got a little bit of Nirvana in the early 90s, and then you get the Spice Girls later on. It's like a big, melting pot of everything.
I mean, in the world of hip-hop, you got Biggie and Tupac.
Right.
I mean, it was across the board, all genres, the best decade of music.
Yeah, it was only number 3 voted by the people.
Well, the people are stupid. Except for the percentage of people that said the 90s were right.
Yeah, but you were right about the 70s. It was, of course, one of the two best decades. People thought the 70s was number 2.
And Zeppelin.
I automatically think disco.
Well, yeah, that was a little bit of that.
It wasn't the whole 70s,
That was
though.
late 70s.
Exactly.
Was it? See, I don't know. I was not born.
When did Kiss put out Dynasty? I can't remember. It was towards maybe 79 or 80. And that was kind of them trying to capitalize on the success
79, yeah.
They were trying to capitalize on the success of disco, and they kind of made it a little bit more of and although I love the record, it's a little bit more disco-ish. Disco meets rock.
I think you're forgetting about the Michael Jackson Prince effect, which is why the 80s, I think, is probably getting the big nod.
Oh, yeah.
Late 80s, I'm down with, because that's Guns N' Roses. I mean, even
that also
the mid-80s,
helps.
you got the hair metal, the sleaziness of LA. That was pretty rad. But man, I mean, you got Nirvana, you got all the Seattle bands. And then Green Day was hot in the 90s there, Danny.
94, Offspring. Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
Jane's Addiction.
Well, that's why it's number 3. And, it's not like the 90s is and there's a very, very close. Like 22% of the people said 80s, 21% said 70s. So they were 80s and 70s really close.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you ask this again in 10 years, I think you're going to see the 90s be number 1. Because it's just a matter of age. I mean, that's what I think about, the idea of, because the older people get, the less they like new stuff. So, Steve, you're locked into the 90s. Vicky's locked into the 90s. It shouldn't get better for you two. Like, you're not going to all of a sudden go,
no,
holy cow, 2010s were amazing, or the 2020s. It's just not going to happen.
It's going to take a while before someone even looks back fondly on the 2020s or the 2010s, because it's just like, why I love the 90s, because I've heard all those songs. It's comfort food for me, and I'm sure it's like that for Vicky as well. And also, it's what I grew up on. So to me, that was, I've been listening to nonstop 90s music for my entire life, it feels.
Yeah, the 2000s are tied with the 1950s. And I know it's got to be an age thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just not a lot of people alive that count. That love the 50s music, as well as there's not a lot of live people that count that love 2000s yet. There's just not enough of them to really get a vote.
I feel like when you're at a certain point in time, like we looked back, and for a while I feel like we looked at 90s music, not everyone, but some, and kind of cringed, like, oh, I used to listen to that. And then at some point it becomes cool again.
I never cringe. I've always looked back on it fondly. I'll listen to Butterfly. I'll listen to Steal My Sunshine. All those one-hit wonders.
Because Steve is a diehard to like from day one till the day he dies. But I feel like...
I think Len was in the 90s. It could be.
Yeah. Len was absolutely the 90s.
I hate to give Vicky credit, but I mean, a lot of the really goofy songs that none of us ever wanted to even care about anymore from the 70s were made popular again. And they are popular again.
You can thank Guardians of the Galaxy for that.
Definitely. So we're just kind of waiting for the next Guardians of the Galaxy to make all the music I listened to in high school cool again. And I feel like TikTok and everything, they're all kind of discovering like, oh, this is this cool band from 20 years ago. And that's when I feel ancient.
I'm surprised. Did you say the 60s yet, BJ?
Yeah, the 60s did not show up in the. I'm sorry, it's number 4. It did show up.
I was going to say. I mean, you got the Who, you got the Beatles, you got the Beach Boys.
That's like my mom's generation of music, because she was like a teenager in the 60s, and she like would argue 100%. You had like Woodstock and everything like that. So,
but the 90s had Semisonic's Closing Time, and until someone else, there you go.
It's a good song,
right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just know that my formulative years, new wave and punk, that was going against the grain of 70s music. This is where, you had, I looked at it like everybody loved Aerosmith, which of course was a band of the 70s, even though they're big in a lot of decades, but they started in the 70s. Yep. And for a guy like me, that was my brother's music. That wasn't my music. My music was, I guess, was the Cars, even though they started in the 70s. But the Cars really were an 80s sound, in my opinion. They bridged new wave and rock together, and that was my stuff was all new wave. Flock of Seagulls, that was my world. All that. And
far away.
All that music you hate, Steve, because of the production of it.
I hate the production of the 80s.
And I love that so much. Like they started using the computers and the synths and all of that stuff. So it was really cool.
Yeah, we're sort of logged off.
Rude.
I'm just not an 80s guy.
I get it.
I like 80s metal and 80s like thrash metal and rock,
and all of this music you're talking about, the 90s, I love as well.
Right.
And I'll sit there and I'll listen to even a classic alternative sort of station or something like that. But I just love the 80s music.
So instead, I'll take the 90s over the coke-fueled synth music of the 80s.
Oh. Yeah, that's true. There was a lot of coke. There was a lot of coke everywhere. Yeah. There was coke in everything in the 80s. That's a fact.
It's funny when you mentioned Aerosmith, because obviously a lot of people fell in love with them because of what they did in the 70s. But for me, it was about the late 80s when I fell in love with Aerosmith, the Pump record. That was the record that got me I knew of Aerosmith, but to me, they were like the old band. They were almost like a classic rock band in the eyes, but then they not reinvented, because they're just doing the same stuff, but they just kind of refreshed their sound and became this monster band that we all fell in love with in the 80s.
And that was a big, it wasn't just new wave. It was Aerosmith of the 80s, and we can't forget Van Halen. I mean, again, also contributing to the great music of the 80s.
I fell in love with Aerosmith when I went on the rock and roller coaster at
Disney
World. Yeah,
that ride is incredible. I got off that ride and went right back on it again.
Yeah, you're in a limo. So you get to hang with Steven Tyler. It's great.
See, they used to have an old arcade machine, Aerosmith, where it was like one of those ones where you'd have a gun and you're shooting like, I don't know, aliens that come to like take over the world. So you're defeating them with rock music, and you could like their special gun was shooting CDs and it would play Aerosmith all the time. That's why I love them.
Wow. I don't know if I know that one.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's
even
awesome.
familiar with
Sounds
that
great
either.
though.
Revolution X.
Yeah, that was it.
That's so funny.
It was so
At any
cool.
point, did Steven Tyler trying to shoot Joe Perry in a drunken rage?
I don't think so. But I'm not 100%. It's been a while since I've played it.
It's been a while.
Yeah, that's if you unlock it, Steve. If you get the high score.
Yeah.
That's where you
I'm just looking at the 90s, man. I mean, from the bands that we mentioned, then I mean, just like random ones like NSYNC. I mean, I wasn't an NSYNC fan, obviously, but like
Backstreet Boys, I get it,
Backstreet
yeah.
Boys, like that was like a whole the Hootie. Yeah, I'm not a Backstreet Boys. Don't even. I get kicked out of my house if I listen to the Backstreet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she might be listening. Don't say that.
Yeah, I already made her angry with the cookie comment. I don't need now be on the air proclaiming I love the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, just did, saving that.
Well, and also, I was thinking the 80s. You can't forget Genesis was big in the 80s.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
Sega Genesis. Yes, the Sega Genesis. That's
Yeah,
the-
exactly. It was
no,
huge.
the band.
There's the band, Phil Collins, the
Yeah.
other guys.
Have the invisible touch. Yeah.
ZZ Top, there's, of course, for me, Dire Straits. There was a lot of good music in the 80s that, people forget. And like you said, Steve, if you look at a list, like you said, of the 90s, you go, how could this decade be beat? Then you look at the 80s and go, yeah, I can't argue. There's stuff there too.
Yeah,
Just like I can't argue with the 90s.
80s didn't have Silverchair. That's all I got to say.
Frog Stomp is still a great
Such
album.
a good record, and it's insane that they were teenagers when they wrote it, like 15 or 16 years old.
Yeah, but and also you're not going to like it, but we had Madonna, and that was also a big reason why the 80s was huge.
Oh,
Madonna was huge.
Madonna's amazing, still amazing.
Oh, all right, let's not get crazy.
Hey, go back and listen to Like a Virgin right now and tell me that you disagree.
I'll go back and listen, and within 5 minutes, I'll change it to some Silverchair.
Fine.
Or Third Eye Blind.
Wow.
Third Eye Blind over Madonna any day of the week.
Really, sir?
Yes, sir.
I mean,
How about one person brought up a good point? I do have to give a nod to Duran Duran in the 80s because I was a Duranimal.
forgot all about the Duranimals. Yes, that's another reason.
I was only
and
a
don't
fan
forget
of that
Right
band
Said Fred.
because I was a fan of Duran Duran because all the chicks in high school liked Duran Duran. So like you became a fan of Duran Duran just trying to like, what's up? Didn't work.
There you go. Sure, there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing that liking a band that someone else likes doesn't mean that you guys are going to become like boyfriend girlfriend. It's nuts.
I know. It's too bad, isn't it? If it was just that easy.
It's not.
If it was just that easy.
Even like Power Station in Arcadia, the offsprings of,
now you're
of
talking.
Duran Duran. Like, there you go. Half of Duran Duran went one way and half went the other way and started new bands.
Yeah.
And I listened to that crap too.
And still, no girlfriend.
None.
Wah, 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 wah.
Someone said, how about all the 90s country? See, I was not a fan of country.
I
forgot about
loved
that,
Garth
yeah.
Brooks, Travis Tritt, Brooks and Dunn. Like, I could still karaoke all these songs.
Reba
McEntire.
Alan Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
See, that was the era of country that made me hate country.
Dwight Yoakam.
That was what I grew up with because my mom she stopped liking rock music when it got like all stoner crazy in the 70s and she started listening to country. So I grew up with like the old country, and then she got into my first concert was Alan Jackson actually at the zoo.
At the zoo?
At the zoo in Albuquerque.
Damn.
I would argue that the 90s did change the face of country because I remember 80s country because that's when I started in radio. And that's your Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, Oak Ridge Boys, Alabama. I mean,
Johnny
as
Cash.
As far as country was concerned, Alabama was massively huge in the 80s. I mean,
Totally, yeah.
That's all it was Alabama.
See, yeah, that 90s, that's, I was not, and I'm okay with like the current country music. I don't love it, but like, I can enjoy it. It's kind of more poppy, but there was just a sound to that country music in the 90s that just instant channel changer for me.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're not a big old Garth Brooks fan?
I would love to see Garth Brooks live, and it has nothing to do with like his actual songs because none of his songs do anything for me, but I hear he puts on an incredible performance.
Yeah, I went to a Garth Brooks concert when I was younger, and it was absolutely fantastic.
See, it's like Kiss. It's like you don't really need to be a fan of Kiss to enjoy their live show, and I feel like that's probably the same with Garth Brooks.
Totally, 100%.
One of life's biggest questions. I mean, we've answered, one question here, but actually we got a bigger question that has just been answered. And that, of course, is what will happen if you squeeze an orange over a balloon? you're going to hear what happened. At 8:17 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
Spend less time in the laundry room and more time doing the things you love. Introducing the Samsung Smart Top Load Laundry Pair, now available at Lowe's. The washer's large capacity means you can fit more in every load. Plus, its super speed setting washes a full load in only 28 minutes. Shop the smart washer that will streamline laundry day, backed by Lowe's Price Promise. Based on using super speed on a normal cycle with an 8-pound load. Terms apply. See Lowe's.com/price promise for details. U.S. only.
We all remember that one professor, the one everyone on campus had to take no matter what subject they taught because how much fun their class was. What if we told you there was a streaming service that had all those professors? One Day University has every must-have professor from the best colleges all across the country. One Day University, the most fun talks from the most fun professors. Available live and on demand. No homework, just the most fun you'll have while learning. Get a special offer at ondayu.com/Odyssey.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. You got to check out this video on the BJ and Migs page of KISW.com because this guy, what he did is he made a video showing you what will happen if you squeeze an orange over a balloon.
So let's say your kid got a nice new balloon and he's all happy about it and you decide to eat an orange by it. Here's what happens. So notice when I squeeze the orange, there's a tiny little bit of oil comes out and something odd happens when that oil hits a balloon. It just makes it explode. So what is going on here? What is it inside of an orange that's making the balloon explode? Orange peels have a nonpolar flammable liquid in them called limonene. And because it's nonpolar and the latex is also nonpolar, it can dissolve the balloon a little bit. The same thing happens when you put gasoline on a balloon. So I have here a little bit of gasoline, and I'm just going to drop a drop on here. And it does the same thing.
Damn.
That's science.
But, well, I'm not trying to judge a guy by a person's voice, but he just sounds like someone I would not let my children be around. That kind of creepy.
Oh, boy. Yeah. He sounds a little off.
Explode.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
It just makes it explode.
Okay, when you put it like that.
Well, I agree kind of now.
Right?
So.
I'm sure he's a nice guy. Probably. He has like a wealth of information that reminds me of my father. My father has like the most, I guess we're all guilty of having like stupid info inside of our heads that we share with someone. And you're just like, why do you even know that? Like, of all things to know, how do you figure that out?
But how many years have I been on the planet? We've had balloons, we've had oranges. This is the first time I have ever known this, because I would have done this many times to my sister's balloons just because I wanted to irritate her.
Oh, dude, I'm going to do that. Next time I'm at a party and there's balloons, and if there's oranges, I'm definitely doing that.
It just makes it explode.
Yeah. And make sure you use that voice.
And then I'm going to be kicked out of the party.
Well, I think you'd be kicked out of the party for blowing up the kids' balloons anyway. Oh, yeah. That is wild. I mean, I never knew that. So that's from the peel, which is why that peel juice doesn't taste good.
Peel juice.
Yeah.
Peel juice?
Is that a thing? Orange oil, but yeah, peel juice.
Well, whatever. The peel oil.
Just don't say it 3 times.
Yeah. You call it oil, I call it juice, whatever. It's whatever the peel secretes.
Apparently this guy's got an awesome YouTube channel, according to a lot of people. It's called The Action Lab. One guy said that this guy's amazing. I recognize his voice, and he makes a ton of short videos and all science stuff.
Yeah, Action Lab Shorts. Short and sweet science.
Oh, look at this. Everybody loves this guy, but you're saying he's a creepazoid.
No, just the audio. I said he's probably a really nice guy, and according to the text messages, they say he's actually just a big nerd, but not creepy at all. Haha. It just sounded funny when he was talking about an orange.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, and how he labels some of his videos. 30 marshmallows getting their soul sucked out.
What?
What?
Wow.
What is he doing in that? Does it describe what he's doing?
He put 30 marshmallows in a vacuum chamber, and so you just see them just shrink and shrivel up like, old people.
Oh, that's cool.
Where was this during college being stuck?
Yeah,
like,
see,
this is the channel that we all needed.
Like I know about microwaving marshmallows, how they'll blow up because
Really?
of Peeps. Yeah, you ever microwave Peeps?
I feel like we've done that on the radio once.
Yeah, but this way is reversed. Like they're
They're shrinking.
We're melting.
That's cool.
Is that how they make all the little marshmallows for hot chocolate?
Yeah, that's exactly what they do, Steve.
Wow. I feel like we should have follow-up videos with Steve's questions. That would be a YouTube channel.
Yeah, put me in a room with this guy. See how long it takes before his mind explodes.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you putting me in this room with this idiot?
He's going to be like, hold on, let me get an orange peel and drop it on your head. Maybe that's awesome. So what's the name of the channel again?
Explode.
Action Lab Shorts.
Nice.
Oh, I know what I'm going to do in this.
All right. And his name, what's his name?
Action Lab Shorts guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. There we go. Nice.
Like, I don't miss school, but like stuff like this kind of makes me like want to go back to like science class and try stuff.
If they would have made science fun, like you see on some television, like Bill Nye obviously made science fun.
Yeah.
What was the guy? Was it Mr. Wizard?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Wizard.
That guy was awesome because he would like teach you like certain things, like how, if you hold a bucket full of water and you do the whole spinning around thing, the water stays in the bucket. And then I'd try it, but I didn't do it fast enough, and then I had water over my house, and my parents wouldn't let me watch Mr. Wizard anymore.
That's
that about makes sense. Yeah.
If you have a few minutes, watch Mr. Wizard as a Savage on YouTube, and it's just about all the times he kind of like degrades kids.
No, he doesn't.
Well, not like degrades them, but it's more of like, well, yeah, like why didn't you know that type of thing. It's really funny.
Well, that was a different time, as we like to say.
The power of static electricity and a fist to your face.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Wizard, bitch.
Stupid kid.
I'm not picturing him being a jerk.
Yeah.
Well, it's Steve, it's because we grew up in a place where everybody was jerks. He just seemed regular.
He just seemed regular.
Yeah.
Dad?
I mean,
Dad.
honestly, how many times were you asked if you were stupid in your life? For anything
Today?
that you may have done.
Today.
Yeah.
At least twice.
I mean, now even the word stupid, people are saying, please don't use that anymore. It's a very hurtful word. And that was pretty much a question I was asked every day. What are you, stupid? What are you, stupid? What are you? I mean, that was just the question of the day for anything that I may have done that my parents didn't like.
For a long time, I thought my name was Quit Being Stupid, but it wasn't.
We call him Quit for short.
Somebody said, Vicky, you need to do the orange trick on your OnlyFans page.
Oh, what?
Like do that one as opposed to crushing the watermelons with the thighs?
Explode.
Oh dear.
Balloons and oranges make things explode.
I was thinking with condoms.
Oh,
there you go.
That
Will
would
it
work.
work?
I don't know.
That's a great idea.
Latex.
Okay, Vicky, OnlyFans to the
Yeah, you
rescue.
got to science that bitch.
Yeah, hey, people pay for anything, Vicky. What the heck?
Yeah. Especially if you caption it right. See what I do with condoms.
Right, and then you're just like using it to hold water.
Yeah. Or you checking to see if the oranges explode.
Someone said you guys should check out his video of him painting a room all black with the darkest black paint in the world. Whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, what for? Like, what's he doing that for? Is that
To see how void of light that room becomes.
Oh, interesting.
Wow, I didn't know there was a darkest black paint in the world. And I think my brain was just like, it probably looks black.
It's Musu black paint?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, there it
looks like
is.
a void. It looks like there's, like a hole. It's really weird.
Imagine having that in your house and you like invite someone like, hey, you want to go into this room? And you walk in and it's just all black. I'd be like, yo, I'm going to go home now.
They shut him in there and turn off the lights.
And put like scary music on?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, obviously, if there's no light in the room at all, and he paints the ceiling and everything, and there's no window,
Or Twilight Zone music.
Have you ever Maris Farms? When they would do like the haunted woods thing,
Yeah.
they would do, or the haunted maze, I guess. And you'd go into a room that was like probably the same kind of paint, all blacked out. It's the weirdest feeling, especially knowing that there's about 20 other people in that room with you.
Yeah.
And you're potentially about to like walk into someone that you don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Like literally walk into them.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about those rooms. You're right. So I guess
hate
those would be
rooms.
Oh, yeah.
Like I love doing those haunted things, but like that's the one room that just trips me out, mainly because I just don't want to like accidentally walk into someone.
Wow, really? That's the thing that gets you.
Yeah.
Mine was not wanting to walk into the walls.
I'd rather walk into a wall until as opposed to like somebody like I don't know, just like butt faces or something like that with some
yeah.
random person.
Accidentally kiss someone.
Well, see,
Or accidentally rope someone. You know.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what as a younger man, way back in the day, that was what you thought. Wow, you never ever got any action. You thought that might be the closest you could get to action. And you know what?
Not creepy at all, BJ.
Yeah. No, not at all. Especially when you realize you're good with all your male buddies. You realize that's the only thing you're going to be groping because those are the guys closest to you. So that plan backfired.
Glad it did.
Yeah. Well, when you're younger, it was a different time, Steve.
Yeah, Porky's was the show to watch, so I can understand why that would lead down those roads. These days, probably don't want to do that. Probably not.
Well, there you go.
So congratulations. Where someone had all the walls made of mirrors, and it looked like Inception.
Oh. Yeah.
And the paint that he uses is a special pigment that actually absorbs the light. It's super trippy.
Oh, okay. So that's the idea. It's not just the darkest color ever, but it also has a thing in it.
I guess someone said you could also look up Black 3.0 if you want an affordable version of super black paint. Supposedly 99% of light absorbed when applied right. Wow. That would be kind of cool to have like a blackout room, though. Because it's kind of like floating, Rev. I mean, that's the beauty of floating is that you're completely, there's nothing, like you see nothing. It's all blacked out because of just how dark the tank is.
See, it would be interesting also. I was just thinking, do you remember all those little like stickers, the Galaxy stickers that kids would put on their ceilings, the glow-in-the-dark ones?
I love those.
Like doing that with that black paint, because I think that would just be a mind trip.
I was thinking they have these blackout rooms that are also soundproof rooms that you can actually hear your heartbeat. Oh. You don't see anything, you don't hear anything.
That's kind of like the sensory depth tank. So
I was about to say, that's like a float tank. If you get in that right mindset of quietness and you're not moving around a lot, you can feel and hear your heartbeat, and it's trippy.
Yeah, it is. Oh, that's weird. That's very, very weird. Yesterday, Steve, he did get this one wrong.
Bill Hader produced and starred in what HBO television show?
Oh, crap. I watched that show, too.
Oh, crap. You did?
I can't think of the name.
Oh, good.
Burns. Mr. Burns?
No.
Mr.
That's it.
Babadoo?
No.
Hello, Mr. Babadoo.
I'm going to go with the Smurfs.
No.
Well, you were really close when you said bah. I thought, he's going to get it.
I know.
He's going to get it.
Barry.
Yeah, you got it. But, unfortunately, that was yesterday. Doesn't count. You want a shot at beating Steve? You got it. 206-421-ROCK. We're playing Beat Miggs at 8:47 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. How do I figure out who my creditors are?
People a lot of times have had a long time of not having good credit and having collections, and so they're concerned that you may be concerned that you won't be able to find all your creditors if you file bankruptcy. How will I know which collection agency has my credit card bill from 10 years ago now? And that's something that's hard to keep track of because credit collection agencies transfer your debts all over the place. But we will pull all your credit bureaus, and by getting all three of your credit bureaus, we'll be able to tell who has your credit and debt now, which collection agencies have had it in the past, and we'll make sure that we file all your creditors when we file your bankruptcy so that nothing slips through the cracks.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. Thanks for listening.
Spend less time in the laundry room and more time doing the things you love. Introducing the Samsung Smart Top Load Laundry Pair, now available at Lowe's. The washer's large capacity means you can fit more in every load. Plus, its super speed setting washes a full load in only 28 minutes. Shop the smart washer that will streamline laundry day, backed by Lowe's Price Promise. Based on using super speed on a normal cycle with an 8-pound load. Terms apply. See Lowe's.com/price promise for details. U.S. only.